we have an objective as a church, a mission as Christ Church to transform community. And we said we would spend this year thinking about those two words. We've not had a lot of time to think about them because obviously we haven't been meeting together. But how do we start transforming community? Let me suggest to you that we do it one life at a time. I get increasingly concerned when I hear Christians say that they don't know anybody outside the church community. How are we ever going to change the world, which is the Great Commission that Jesus gave us? It was his directive to us as a church. How are we going to do that unless we spend time with those who need the help of the great physician? This is the year of prayer and outreach, and the whole object of having a year of outreach is that we get in contact with people who are outside the church and we draw them closer to Jesus. I'm reminded of this awesome story. Every Christmas, the founder of the Salvation Army in London, General William Booth, looked forward to addressing the crowd at the Salvation Army's annual convention. He loved seeing the faces of those who were dedicated to the charity and were passionate about its mission to serve. But it was Christmas 1910. General Booth's health was poor, and he knew that he was not going to be able to attend in person. So when the thousands in attendance were told that he would not be present, a wave of sadness and disappointment swept over the crowd. General Booth's speech every year was the highlight and something everyone looked forward to. However, Booth had sent a telegram to be read at the meeting. As the moderator opened the telegram, the thousands in the congregation waited in anticipation to hear the message. His telegram was then read out loud to the crowd. It simply said, "Others," signed General Booth. One word, others. That was it. But one word was all that was needed. Those 6 letters had reminded the crowd what was at the very heart of the charity: serving others, putting the needs of people before their own, not focusing inward, but looking outward to serve, love, and give to others. Friends, we have to win people's confidence, and I know that I make mistakes at that all the time. But I want the church to have a positive impact upon people. I read this story about a Christian in Chicago who worked with street people and how he was approached by a prostitute who was in a desperate situation. She didn't know that he was a Christian. She just knew him as someone who might be able to help her. She described the mess she was in. She was sick, she was a drug addict, and she was homeless. She had a 2-year-old daughter. And with tears running down her face, she said how she couldn't even afford to buy food for her little girl. The man was horrified at what he heard, but he tried not to let it show. And he asked her if she had ever thought of going to church for help. She looked at him in complete amazement. "Church?" she said. "Why would I ever go there? They'd just make me feel even worse than I already do." How far have we come from the teacher who was criticised for being a friend of outcasts and sinners? Friends, it is our responsibility to do something about reaching this generation for Christ. It was what he was all about. Eric was a piano student and he walked into the examination hall with his teacher. And when called by the three accomplished examiners, Eric stepped forward to the baby grand piano. And it all started so well, but then a musical disaster struck. Eric's hands froze over the keys, and not knowing what to do next, he hung his head low and he felt like giving up. Looking at the panel of judges, he simply said, "I am really sorry. I seem to have forgotten the piece. I'm afraid that I'm afraid that if I keep going, it's only going to get worse. Should I just stop here?" I don't know if you've ever found yourself so stuck that you didn't know how to move forward. Stuck in a relationship, stuck in a dead end job, stuck in an addictive habit, stuck in uncertainty about the future. These and numerous other ways can make us feel like we have nothing good ahead in our lives and that we may as well give up. I think that's what the tax collectors and sinners felt from the religious people of their day until Jesus came along and changed everything. But Eric, going back to the piano exam, he felt a hand on his shoulder, and his teacher whispered these sentences in his ear, and they were words that changed his entire outlook on life. She simply said, "Don't worry, it's not too late. You can begin again." It hadn't occurred to Eric that he would be able to start again, and up to this point he believed there was no coming back from failure. Eric was no longer under pressure to convince people that he was perfect. Friends, let me relieve all of us of that pressure, and let us take up the challenge to pass that message on to others who feel like giving up. We are to get close enough to put a hand on their shoulder and tell them that because of Jesus, they can begin again. Jesus knew that when the Father's house is filled with the Father's love, people will come home, even tax collectors and sinners. Amen.